Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
Hey listeners, welcome back to the Farm for Profit Podcast. If you're hanging out with us here at Husker Harvest Days, this is going to be a live podcast recording, one of our Farm for Fun episodes. Remember, we have 2 shows every single week. We have YouTube channel and social media all over the place. So if you enjoy our content, please share that with your friends and family and enemies.
Enemies.
So
Definitely your enemies.
we can reach more people.
Just spam your enemies with our podcast, please.
And we just met some college kids that came up here at the show.
Going to UNL.
How can you not feel that fly on your forehead?
If you happen to be...
It's all the it's all the hair paste that's on it that's dripped down his forehead. He can't really feel it.
Apparently I have a fly on my forehead if the audio and video are picking up. But the college kid, if you're a college kid listening, you need to make sure to tell your friends because one of the college kids listens, but his friends didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got the T-shirt, and the rest of them didn't get the
Yeah,
T-shirt.
they didn't.
What hair products do you use? Is it like LA Looks or what is that?
Bedhead right here.
Or
Plus,
did you use
little cowboy hat
Did you
on
use
top of that.
lotion at the Airbnb?
No, I did not use lotion. There was a time that we did not have any hair gel. So.
And he used lotion at the hotel, like something about Mary style.
So there's three of us on this podcast, and Tanner and David, but I can't remember how to spell Corey. Dave, how do you spell Corey?
I'd saved in my phone as C-O-R-Y, but I'd oftentimes use C-O-R-E-Y. I think that's the correct way.
Oftentimes. I would use the oftentimes one.
It's spelled C-O-R-Y in my phone.
Well, that's the way it came across in the text you just sent.
Tanner
How are we
said-
off the rails already? 515-207-9640. Call or text us. Please go leave us some reviews. We need them all over Spotify, Apple, the UTEBs, all that stuff. But give me, are we going to do music or am I just raw dogging this, Tanner?
I'll get you some music.
You've been
Okay.
updated in my contact.
Oh, I've been updated?
You've been updated.
No more emails of C-O-R-Y.
C-O-R-E-Y.
All right. Today on the Farm for Fun show, we meet up with probably one of our longest Nebraska friends ever of the podcast. It's hard not to be in a great mood when you're around this man. He's got an infectious, upbeat personality with a glass half full mentality. He is always down to share his knowledge and, more importantly, his mistakes. He graciously donated us a golf cart for the week out here at Husker Harvest Days. Thank you for that. Please welcome from Nebraska, owner and operator of LEAD, that's L-E-A-A-D Farms, Mr. Cale Carlson.
Yeah. Thank you. Great introduction. Glad to be here. Welcome to Nebraska. Welcome to the great state of Nebraska.
So we've had you on as a guest before, but it was more of a panel, right? I think we were doing some Go Farm Yourself content a few years ago at Farm Progress. We've hung out with you a bunch, but I don't think we've ever done a show with just Cale.
Glad to be on. My daughter gets lots of interviews, lots of podcasts. I always ask myself, when do I get to be on, maybe? But
Well,
We're
so-
not even going to talk about it today. We
So
won't-
Tanner's cousin lives
Super.
in Aurora, okay?
That's
That's
right,
where our
yeah.
Airbnb is.
oh, wow.
And she
Great
comes
town.
over to our Airbnb the night we get here. Tanner hasn't seen this girl in 15 years.
maybe 20.
And she knows you. You dug her pond.
Oh, that's
Oh, shoot, yeah.
You dug her
Oh,
pond.
yeah. Awesome.
You
oh,
gave
man,
it a big-
great family.
It
You
was
gave
a
that
giant-
pond a big enlargement, I heard.
Yeah, it's got bass in it. It's got
big
great
enlargement.
fish in it.
It looked
Yeah.
like a...
It's a giant phallus.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally is in the shape of a
Human man's genitals.
Yeah.
But not anymore. Cale fixed it.
Oh, that's right.
I fixed it. I dug it deeper.
I dug it deeper.
He took it deeper.
Oh, anyway, so this is a Farm for Fun show. We learned about Cale. Oh, where I was going with that was, she said Cale was actually a celebrity before Laura. Cale started it.
Oh,
So you got
is that right?
So you got some notoriety.
You heard it here
that,
first.
Like you were the first Nebraska
Fantastic.
celebrity.
She says she has some content that she's holding hostage of you.
Oh my! There is content out
Yeah.
there. There is.
She's holding it hostage because she's pretty sure that you spent more time on your phone than actually digging the pond.
I did. I think I was live streaming some of that too. I went on Twitch to try that out. I'm always fascinated with technology and anything new and exciting. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try this over here. See what happens.
Very nice, very nice.
Absolutely.
So let's go back and learn about Cale, because you have a very interesting family dynamic. But let's learn about little Cale.
Are you ready to power through your harvest? Meet the Maya corn heads. They're designed for maximum efficiency and unmatched durability in the toughest of conditions.
With precision engineering and advanced features, Maya corn heads ensures every kernel counts, giving you the performance and reliability that you need. Get more from your harvest with equipment built to last.
Reach out to your local Maya corn heads dealer or visit mayacornheads.com to find your perfect match today. Maya corn heads, harvest with confidence.
Okay, well, I grew up in south central Nebraska on the farm, 100-year, century-old farm. I'm the fourth generation. My kids, hopefully, will be the fifth generation coming into the fray. We've done livestock, pigs early on. When I first came back, so grew up, raised on the farm. Went off to college, university, met my lovely wife, Megan, out there. Came back home, rented some ground, and Dad had farrow to finish, hog operation, and cattle and row crop. Came back in 1998, was my first farming year, row crop, and married Megan in 99. Started having kids in 2001, so I've been farming ever since. Farmed 25 years with my father, and he passed away last November, so now I'm out on my own, I guess, for the next 25 years, but he was a great inspiration, great teacher, great leader, and so I just want to pass on everything that I've learned onto my kids or whoever else.
That's Marquette,
interested.
Nebraska?
That's in Marquette, yep.
Is that where home was before you went to university and then came back?
Yeah, yep, born and raised.
Where'd you go to college?
Lincoln. University of Nebraska, Lincoln, on East Campus.
I always knew there was something off about you.
Burr Hall.
Burr Hall.
What did you study there?
Mechanized systems management.
What?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it what it says it is?
Essentially, yeah. It's kind of morphed and changed a little bit. Part of the Kasner program, College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources.
Kasner.
But yeah, mechanized system management. So engineering, tooling, and or leading and managing whatever operation. And in the farming operation, as we know, it's hectic and the plans change all the time. I'm constantly improvising, adapting, and overcoming to complex machines or complex people or just situations. And it did a pretty good job of preparing me for that for life.
Very cool.
Adapting and overcoming. How'd you overcome 5 kids, or how'd you get on that deal?
Megan and I both come from big families. We knew we each wanted a big family.
Helpers on the farm.
Yeah. Well, you got to run, more kids to help the operation out for sure. But Megan's going to be a big part of that. Gotcha. Teaching, training, keeping clean, keeping fed, even me. I'm kind of the 6th child of the family. A lot of people
done that,
say.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think I learned last time, you guys homeschool them?
Yeah, we homeschooled all the way up until 7th, 8th grade. I think Laura, her freshman year, went to Nebraska Christian her freshman year. And then, throughout high school, the kids went into, high school. But we homeschooled all the way through.
So not only 5 kids, but then you taught 5 kids.
Yeah.
And made, we know Laura very well. We don't know your others as well, but we've met them a couple times, and they're all stand-up individuals.
It's pretty much the same. We get along very, very well. We have a lot of fun together. We still have a lot of fun together. It gets to be a pretty loud environment. I'm a loud talker anyway. We talk a lot. It's when just our 7 family unit is together, it will be hours of conversations of talking over each other. So
it's
even
like
me,
that restaurant environment where you just keep getting louder and louder and louder.
As robust and loud and as much as I like to talk and hear myself talk, I just kind of fade into the background as the kids take over the situation. So we are a very fun family unit together. We miss each other when we're away, and so getting together is a lot of fun. It's kind of been that way from the beginning. So love my family, love big families.
And you guys do a bunch of crazy cool things. Like you ride motorsports. You're always, on I think it's the Platte River that you guys are riding side-by-sides on, doing that stuff. And then we went over to your shop last year, and he's got a pole vault.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, in the shop.
Yep.
Like a big bag and everything.
Now, have you ever gotten up on the pole?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I still will
I'd
now. So
snap it
we
in
have.
half.
So I finally built my dream shot, and my older brother is the coach, the local high school
Yep.
in Aurora, pole vault coach, and he's like, "Hey, Cale, while you're at it, you should, you haven't poured concrete yet. You should put a plant box in the concrete, and then we'll just let you store the high school pits through the winter, and then we can vault in the wintertime. In Midwest winters, there's not a whole lot to do." I'm like, that would be perfect. Mapped it out, sunk it in there. Actually, I didn't know what side of the shop I was going to be working on or doing that on, so I sunk 2 pits because I love options. I just want to have the options to do it all and not be stuck. So,
Wow.
yeah, we'll vault in the winter, and I have some have college vaulters come back, some world-class vaulters, and got a couple young high school kids from different schools coming out to my shop last year and this year. #1 state jumper for the boys and for the girls in Nebraska.
Do you have any good Olympics content like the gentleman that kind of went viral?
I haven't yet. I don't do a lot of filming. I don't do a lot of filming in there, but that's very possible.
That's very possible. Very, very possible.
How big of a school do you have to be to have a pole vault? Because I
didn't think you were going there.
ever remember that in Iowa.
How big of a school do you have to have?
to knock that bar off of there?
Well, the high school where my kids go is not very big, and they don't have the best equipment or poles, but yeah, it's still.
Is that a thing
still
down at like Drake Relays? Is there?
yeah,
they
they do
have-
it inside
they have-
Jordan Creek Mall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can stand on the second story of the
And
mall.
watch them come over, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
How
awesome.
long is a pole?
Anywhere from 9 feet to 15, 16 feet.
So why wouldn't you
long.
just get the 16-foot one so you can be higher off the ground?
Because you have to be able to put the energy into the pole to slingshot you up. So it's based
I bet
on
we could
length
slingshot Corey 9 foot.
I'd snap that thing in
and
half.
width. What would be cool is to ride a hoverboard or an electric bike all the way into to get enough runway speed. So
Like a
it's a pretty
one-wheel.
complex sport. So you need speed, agility, balance, and then you just have to be able to enjoy being upside down at 50 mile an hour with your hair on fire.
50 mile an hour because of the leverage. I mean,
I like it.
Just in general, just for statement, if you're that kind of an adrenaline junkie that don't mind being out of your element, the human body wasn't created to be upside down at a very high rate of speed.
So does your wife like all this energy and excitement as well?
She had an idea. She knew what she was getting into while we were dating.
So opposites didn't necessarily attract. It was we both kind of liked it.
Yeah, no. She comes from a very dynamic family background as well too. So it fit very well.
We were talking about this last night. I go to the amusement park, and my wife's like, "I will hold the stuff." She will not go ever anywhere kind of energetic or exciting.
Rachel
adventurous.
doesn't think I could pole vault.
Rachel doesn't think
This
you
is sneaky athleticism, Rachel. You don't even know.
do. You didn't
I was
even
telling
know.
somebody. I was telling somebody on Snapchat the other day that we're all sneaky athletic.
Yeah,
We may not look at sitting in front of this camera, but
Dave would probably disappoint you the most
yeah.
That's fair.
if you watch him swing a golf club.
I am. Hey, I kicked your ass in the last simulator.
That was miniature golf.
No,
Oh,
that
that
was
was-
driving
Oh,
contest.
that's right. Down at the
out
John
on
Deere
Pebble
Classic.
Beach, and we put it up on the
Oh, yeah,
deal. And
yeah.
Yeah. So back to
they just washed it right under the
the
rug. there. You
family.
see how that
family,
went?
whole bunch of kids. You got a loud household. But as you grew up, what's the farm look like now?
Well, as I came back, we've expanded acres-wise. We eliminated the hogs. We were farrow to finish for a lot of years. Learned hard work every single day. Cut the cow herd in half. We got rid of the farrow to finish operation. Rented out the hog buildings for maybe the last 6 years. And
So you still own the hog building?
10 years. Yes.
you
Yeah.
get the manure.
We have we have the buildings, have the manure. But then last year when last year or 2 years ago, Dad got sick. We just the hog company exited, and we just sat on I told Dad, let's just sit for a year without hogs and see what that feels like. The building's about 20 years old. They still have life in them, but I thought since we expanded the row crop so much and we were getting spread so thin, let's just eliminate one portion of the business. It wasn't always profitable.
Right.
Eliminate that and see what our lives look like, and that's been a good
expand. Did you expand because you had kids, or did you expand because the opportunity
Opportunity.
arose that land was for sale, or et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, no, just opportunities come along, identified good opportunities, and just trying to continue to grow in one way or another.
Because it's corn, beans, seed corn?
Seed corn, yeah, white corn from time to time.
That's right, I remember that. Yeah.
And, cow herd. We've got plenty of pasture. And, it's enough to keep us going, keep the hired man around. We have one hired man. So just teaching and training the kids, the boys, like Dad taught me.
That guy apparently doesn't know you don't have to have the red tractor revved all the way up to pull 3 people.
Gear up, idle down.
Yeah.
Gear up.
It's not
idle
his
down.
fuel bill. He doesn't care. That's exactly right. So that's kind of unique, right? We don't get to talk to a lot of guys that raise seed corn. You know, Corey's family raised seed beans.
We have raised seed corn in the past.
Okay.
Then we got shunned from it.
Is it a choice thing? Can
There
anybody
is
raise
some
seed
there
corn?
is some politics in our area of like whoever does the harvesting or the spraying of the seed corn kind of gets the pick, and if you're in with them or kind of like that, So we used to detassel with our Hagee. We cut the tassels, and so we were in, and then we actually quit that once we got the Hagee paid off and went to spraying fungicide in the
you're
summer.
out.
And worked a lot better for us or for our operation, but then we lost our 300 bushel per acre seed corn equivalent.
Not always.
Not always.
But sometimes.
But a lot of times. It was a really lucrative part of our farming operation.
Did part of you getting into seed corn, did it help to not just be Cale, but LEAD farms? Like where it looks bigger, a little bit more incorporated. Did that help, that transition?
Yeah, a little bit. It was Dad and I farming together. He owns and operates C. Carlson Farms, and I was an employee of C. Carlson Farms, and he allowed me to start, as I was growing my business and renting more ground, I incorporated in 2012, included LEAD Farms, which is the acronym of my 5 children, Laura, Amanda, Adam, Ethan, David. I did that wrong. I did that backwards. I did LEEAD on that.
Yep.
I mean, we have problems with that too. Obviously, you saw our sandwich boards out there.
It's just fine. I stamped it out in concrete. I'm like, it spells LEAD. That's going to be my new corporation in 2012. So Dad allowed me to build out my business of C. Carlson Farms, and there's a lot of shared symmetry between the two. I started buying more equipment, sharing equipment, buying tools, and at some point I will inherit C. Carlson Farms anyway. So
I was going to say, why didn't you just keep going with C. Carlson Farms? Like I'm thinking of Corey. It's always been Hillebo Family Farms. It's never been like a side or
Hillebo Farms. It's been Hillebo Limited. My grandpa had a separate farm for my dad and all that.
So this is got it.
Yeah, and you'll pick up some tax advantages. If one company or one side made more money or not and wants to buy the combine or split the combine, there's some advantages to work between that personally, your corporation, and then your other corporation that, it doesn't matter a whole lot at the end of the year if you pay too much or make too much here and there. So it was a good fit at the time with the current tax law then, and so I've just built that out.
Sorry, Tanner, I interrupted you. What'd you have?
No, I was just going to go down the route of, are you irrigated? And what kind of irrigation is it?
100% irrigation. Pivot irrigation. We have drip irrigation. We do have some places where we can do gravity irrigation with pipe and or aluminum pipe, plastic pipe, or poly pipe irrigation, which has been around forever, but we just found it a couple years ago, and it is fantastic. A lot of pivot corners is what we'll irrigate.
Yeah, I remembered that you were 100% irrigated, so you get to control. But this year it was probably pretty nice. You started off, Mother Nature took care of it for a while.
We were dry always and forever until it started raining in March, April, and we were able to get the crops in. And we got rain like Iowa, Illinois, Indiana gets rain. It was absolutely fantastic, about an inch a week for a very long time. And that once out of every 20 years, I think, we'll do that, where we didn't have to fully irrigate until late July.
Does that save Nebraska a whole lot of money? I mean, I'm assuming it does, but like, like visible money that you like?
$100 an acre.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, up to $100 an acre of not having to irrigate.
And just your time, too.
Yeah, for sure. Remember, irrigation for a lot of us. Now, I've got blessed with very good underground water, very good wells to pretty much pump all the water that I want. But essentially, the irrigation is just keeping the crop going until the next rain. If it doesn't rain, you can fall behind pretty quickly. Fortunately, we have great technology, great genetics that can hang on a lot longer than normal, but you're pretty much irrigating for that next rain.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense, but we're sitting here with brown grass underneath our feet, so obviously it pulled off dry. Things still look good?
Things look really good. Yeah, we didn't let off. I like to keep my moisture profile in that top 3 feet as full as I can in case it stops raining and does turn hot and dry, especially late season. Big fan of late season irrigation, especially on corn. I still have, this morning, I still have 3 pivots running. I do not want to let my foot off the accelerator for that last 10% of yield in corn.
I was going to ask, what's the last 10%, 15%? I didn't know what you were making this late in the season.
Some guys will shut off early or will lose a pivot, and we'll really see that drop. You really want a full moisture profile. You want that corn plant to reach full psychological maturity.
Physiological
Maturity.
None of us have hit psychological.
Corn, I want a divorce.
to put as much starch into that kernel as you can.
Yeah.
Wow, all the way to black layer.
Yes, all the way through.
See, I wonder if we had plenty of rain, but we did shut off here. Gosh, we've been fairly dry for the last 3 weeks.
Pretty much the month of August.
When they were out, it was dry.
We had a good shot of rain early August or late July that helped the beans. But yeah, we never got those good late August rains.
In our wonderful clay loam soils, we have wonderful water holding capacity. So I've seen a lot of my late season irrigation even carry over into next year. So
really?
I never feel like I'm wasting water, because it'll hold that water into the next year, and you'll see crop response into next year.
Yeah, I felt like every time I saw one of Cale's Snapchats this spring was another inch, 3 inches. Well, I made him say hundreds. How many hundreds?
That's right.
Yeah.
How many
It's hundreds. It's hundreds, not tenths. We measure out in western Nebraska. We measure in hundreds, not in tenths, because sometimes we'll get 400ths of rain last night and
Got it.
feel good
So
about it.
he had like 3 inches and 6/10 or 3.5 inches, and I was like, oh no. And he said that. I was like, no, you cannot. You have to tell us
hundreds.
in tenths. And I was like, what was it? 3,000.
3,600 hundredths.
Yeah.
600
Whatever.
hundredths.
Yeah.
Stay on, keep it on brand.
Keep it on brand.
Yeah.
Isn't there a rain gauge that somebody's got out there? I saw a TikTok. Somebody was making fun of another guy because it was in hundredths. It wasn't in. I can't even remember who it was, but yeah, I know there's a specific rain gauge that there's a little cup that you can tip out the hundredths.
Oh, really?
Yep.
We're a small community, but you know who you are if you're out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bond together.
Very much
No,
so.
that's totally fair. So on your pivots, are you running new technology on the tires? Because you guys complain all the time about gearboxes and flat tires.
Yep. There is some new technology. They've had run flat tires out there, steel tires, plastic tires, aluminum tires out there. I found the Shark wheel last year, put that on a pivot, and really like that one. It's not pneumatic, no air, but it's supposed to clean the mud away as you turn around and put it back into the pivot track, so you don't have as deep of tracks. And so far, so good. Second year I've run them. Pretty good tire. But mostly what I found on my pivots, the taller, the bigger the tire, the better, the longer lasting it'll be. Less likely to get stuck, easier on components. So you spend more money on tires, but seemingly have less gearbox and motor issues.
I still remember one of the first TikToks that I saw where somebody's just taking their Ranger and they're just driving through corn. And then you get to the end of the TikTok, it's because they were going to a freaking pivot. Like there's no other way to get to it. When it stops in the middle of the field, you don't have magic ways to get to the pivot to fix it.
Yeah, growing up, we would never run over corn like that. We always walked the tires, the gearboxes out.
Of course you did.
To the pivot. Under Dad's tutelage, like, no, that's, $2 corn. We've got to save that. So we did, a lot of physical manual labor. But now at this point, I'll drive. I'll do the math on what it actually is costing me, and I'll drive out there with a skid steer tractor. We do have a high boy sprayer, so I'll cheat, and I'll use that to fix pivots.
Creep in.
Yes, yep.
I saw Laura was using a drone or something to carry a gearbox in.
I did see that. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
That wasn't on your farm?
No.
It was on Grant's?
Yeah, yep.
Grant and hers, because they have their own farm.
They have their own. She moved off. She's doing her own thing over there. Works pretty well. Yeah, the drone thing was pretty crazy. I didn't think that would actually work. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think I could probably lift her up and take her out there, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
FAA might not like that. Then it's not a drone.
We cut the video for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool, the technology we got. So you have, like, moisture meters and stuff like that out there? You can actually tell?
Yeah, we'll put in moisture probes.
Because Bergen's in Tokyo right now. And
Yeah.
he keeps snapping me, like, that he's running his pivots from Tokyo.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I was able to do that from Rome, Italy.
Oh yeah,
I left my boys at home. Yeah, I left my boys at home to do all the irrigation, but I do have the technology to run and see my pivots, so I can kind of double check and check up on them.
Did you have any problems while you were gone?
No, they did a very good job. They
Yeah.
did a really, really good job. They did a very good job of not communicating to me when there was problems, apparently.
Oh.
So
there was problems.
just
you just
handle
didn't
it.
know
I'm
about
sure
it.
there are problems on my farm every single day. So I know it was happening. I just didn't hear anything.
That's good.
Got back home like, Dad, we wanted you to be away from the farm. Just relax so we can go into harvest with a refreshed boss and leader, ready to go all the way through harvest and all of the challenges, I'll say, that can come along with it.
So where'd you go in Europe?
We went from Italy to Austria to Switzerland.
And
Rome, Florence.
Just because you wanted to?
Yeah, it was our 25th wedding anniversary. It's been a long time since Megan and I have done anything, especially with 5 kids, done anything without the kids.
Yep.
And it was a good, very, very good 10-day trip.
That's cool. What was some of the cool stuff you did there?
Art, museums, churches, the basilicas, phenomenal. You know, seeing.
Are you an art guy?
I'm not. Megan is. She studied art history in college, and so we'll do, for this first trip, we'll do everything surrounding, you know, what Megan wants to see for art. And I was blown away by a lot of it. I was able to, I'm a pole vaulter. I like height. I was always in trees all the time. I got yelled at all the time for getting on top of my church on the roof all the time. I was just up high. I was able to get on 3 churches in Rome and Florence, which was fantastic. They let you get out on the roof and climb around on it.
Cool.
So that was one of my favorite parts. You can get up above the city. I was in a couple bell towers, so you can look up, 400 or 500 feet in the air. You can look around. It's incredible to see 2,000, 2,500-year-old sculptures that were built, carved by hand. It was fantastic. I did get to see some countryside as well, too. I think the next time I go back to Europe, I'll do farm tours. I'll be really interested and see what farming is like over there.
What'd you see for the farming where you were in the countryside?
They were chopping. Looked like corn harvest was right upon them, but a lot smaller, lot smaller fields than we're used to.
Right.
And no irrigation, but different crops.
That's what. So they have narrow roads, right?
Mhm.
So that's what these Maya guys, the booth that we're at right now, they actually folded the first corn head because they're in Spain.
Yeah.
And so they were folding corn heads like in early '90s because of the roads that they had. So it's kind of cool that you have a problem and ag, you'll fix it.
Yeah, next time I
figure it
go,
out.
I'll look Maya up and tour the countryside, maybe with Maya.
Do you have a Maya head?
I do not.
Why not?
That's a good question.
Rick just hasn't got to him yet.
That's a good question. Equipment upgrades are expensive, and so you have to look at everything. So running older equipment, and what we have right now is working. We haven't had any down corn just yet. I know Maya has worked very, very well for down corn, but I haven't had a situation where I needed one just yet.
We might have to get him an influencer demo.
There you go. He is an influencer.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm welcoming all sorts of equipment.
12 row. 16
I'm running a
row?
12 row right now.
One
Yeah.
16 row. We got one right here.
Yeah. 16 row chopping.
Yeah.
It does enough devastating.
You got the
that it'll be
power
just fine.
to run that.
8250.
I'm not.
It's
a
a
red
Should be
guy.
case.
Is that,
Case
is that
combine.
big?
Yeah, so
Is that big? Is that Class 8?
Class 7.
Yeah.
Class 8.
8.
Yeah, you might struggle with a 16 row.
It'll be just fine. I'll
got a-
try it.
it's got a
I
Steinbauer
don't know,
on
not
it?
with those 300 bushel.
That's true.
corn that you
That is
got.
true. 80 bushel beans, 300 bushel corn.
Yeah. Is that typical 80 bushel beans, like under irrigation for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
So
that's what we shoot for.
Everybody in Iowa is trying to get more bushels. Why don't we irrigate?
We don't have access to the water.
yeah.
There's no aquifer like the Ogallala.
No.
Yeah. Got it.
No. I mean,
It's even sometimes places are hard to get a well drilled just to supply your acreage.
yeah, it's hard to get 10 gallons a minute at some places.
How flat is your ground out there where you're farming, Corey?
It's fairly flat. I mean, we get a little roll here and there.
But you don't need hillside combines or
no,
anything.
no.
You're
No.
you're
In
just
fact,
plenty
our-
Not
flat.
in Central.
Our last combine, our 9770, it wasn't a hillside, but it had the sieves that like went from side to side.
Okay.
And it kept messing up and getting stuck one way, so we just put a bolt in it, so
Oh,
it couldn't do
nice.
that anymore, and unplugged it just because it's like, we're flat enough that we don't need it.
Very
But
good.
Those hillside combines are ridiculous.
Have
see
you ever
those-
run one before?
No, I'm scared of them.
I went out. I helped a guy harvest in Iowa. Shoot, it's probably been 15 years ago, but I got to run one. That was a blast. That is some wild stuff.
Over the lowest hills, probably.
Yeah,
On the
yeah. One of my
western side of western side of Iowa.
yes, yeah. It was just into Iowa, BB Town, Iowa.
Yeah, those are the fields that we say, why farm them?
Yeah.
We got extra corn, extra bushels right now. Why
Yeah.
are we farming these?
It
fields?
was incredible, the yield that they were pulling off of those hillsides. But my favorite part about hillside combine is when you get to the end of the field and you turn around, it will lean into it as you're turning. So you can bomb it hardcore super fast, and the whole thing will tilt.
I feel
as
like
you
you
go
need
into
like
your
a
new-
5-point racing
Next
harness
new-
in there.
Yes, yes.
I don't know, man. I won't even mow some ditches because they get too steep. I
Yeah.
don't like that feeling of. But maybe the leveling out in the combine, maybe it wouldn't feel like.
Do you have duals on your mower tractor, or just
so
singles?
we didn't. We used to mow with a 7800, and now a guy dropped off a 20-foot mower for me, so I had to put the 8420, a bigger horse
Nice.
on it, and we got duals on the back. That is a game changer. I
Yeah.
will say that. I still don't like the feeling
Yeah.
of like having to grab a bar.
I don't even like the
to
feeling of
hold.
backing a skid loader off of a gooseneck trailer.
Yeah.
Just that you just
But
kind
the
of get to
tipping point.
that one point because track skid loader just
Yeah.
you get to it. You know you're not going anywhere, but that's still just a little bit. Maybe I wouldn't make a good pole vaulter.
No.
Have you ever rolled a skid steer
Yes.
No.
before?
not.
Yes.
You
You
have?
Yeah.
Backwards was over backwards?
No, sideways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you go around a corner enough, I was backfilling a basement. We were building a house, and eventually that dirt just keeps a little less, until finally I just tipped over, all the way over. But I've taken them. I guess I have been backwards with too heavy of a load up top and
over.
brought
Oh,
it
that would be
backwards
scary.
too, but not with not off the back of a trailer.
But most of the time, though, it'll catch itself. Or do you go all the way back?
Yeah, it'll catch itself if you're going back on, at least my skid loader does, but sideways it doesn't catch itself. I had to go grab another skid loader and lift it up to get it out of there.
Here at Farm for Profit, we believe that great crops start with great partnerships. Ag Explorer is a family-owned company focused on providing the gold standard in plant nutrition, backed by cutting-edge agronomy education.
They're not just selling products, they're helping farmers achieve long-term success with innovative solutions that improve yields and soil health. Trust the experts who care as much about your farm as you do. That's Ag Explorer, where family values meet innovation in the field. So when I was in middle school, we were making a dirt bike track out in our old cattle pasture, and we were making a tabletop. We had a bunch of dirt in there, and I was up on the edge, and I was in a skid loader, and the back tire just fell, the edge gave way, and I went down the side of the tabletop in the skid loader. But at least I had the thought to not fight it, and I just cranked them way back, and I rode it all the way down, like straight down, and I landed it.
And saved it.
That was the closest I've ever been to rolling.
Pros
a skid loader.
only. Good
Yeah,
job.
exactly.
I've been nervous in a telehandler that I had trusses in the air, and it just starts. Boy, I tell you, you get enough out there. If you're moving, and I'd move forward just a little bit, and that whole thing rocked, and the back end come off the ground, and I was nervous at that point. I was thinking we were going
The
to
bigger
crash.
the equipment gets, it can get to be a weird feeling. We load our side dumps and belt trailers with manure, and we have a huge manure bucket on the payloader, and it's kind of the same thing. You pull into that pile and you get backing up, and you just got enough as you're going, you're like,
Yep.
uh-oh, there's not a lot I can do when I get over the top of a belt trailer.
Just a little tipsy.
Yeah.
Yep. So you do dirt work on the farm too, don't you? A little bit.
I do. I love. Yeah. So I think. Sometimes I think I farm because I love machinery so much.
Yeah.
I keep collecting machinery, tractors. Bought a mini excavator to help. I built a house recently, and I bought a bunch of equipment to help build the house. But I use that equipment on the farm so much that the equipment just kind of hangs around. I think I'll buy the equipment.
Right.
A lot of times, a good auction deal, and then I'll just sell it. Well,
Right.
I never sell anything. So I had a mini excavator. Love that. Finally, a couple years ago, bought a larger excavator. And it's amazing how much your neighbors start to call on you. It's like having a pickup when people want to move.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got the excavator. Could you come do a job here, there, or anything else? Like your cousin said, hey, can you come help dig out our pond? Like, sure, I've never done it before, but I can sit in an excavator for a couple weeks and just run the controls. 100% I'll do it.
It's your excavator switch. Some of them, if they're like ISO controls, there's case, and then there's another. Okay, and so if you got cat controls versus case controls, one is left side and one is right side, and it's so a lot of those big excavators you can pull a lever and switch it which side you want the hydraulics on.
Yeah, a lot of the older ones you would have to change the hydraulic couplers, but most everything that's been built in the last 20 years has a switch to either go case controls or excavator. Controls.
So what do you run?
I don't remember. I think it's actually case technically, not excavator controls, because as long as I can, when I was like 6 or 8 years old, Mom and Dad were digging a new septic, and the guy let me get up in the tractor and run it with his backhoe.
You get used to a pattern, and it's just
whatever you learn on, that's what will be set all and throughout. So be wise what you're choosing back then. But they got good technology to flip-flop back and forth.
See, I want to change up. I was old Bobcat skid loader where it's foot controls, and everything is, we're going like ISO controls in it now, and I can run it, but I'm just not as comfortable in it as foot controls. And so as I upgrade, the next one's going to be probably something bigger, and it's not going to be foot controls.
That's why I dumped that box of corn this spring.
Yeah.
Remember I had that box of corn that fell over. I was delivering seed corn to a customer, and he was supposed to be there, and he wasn't. But he's like, "Oh, the skid loader's there." Mind you, it's up on a semi-trailer with a different, no pallet forks or nothing on it. So I have to get this thing off the trailer, which I did great. And then I unloaded like 4 boxes and a couple pallets. And the last box, I just wasn't smooth enough when I was rotating through my turn. I should have just kept going, and I stopped, and it goes, and
crash and burn.
Yeah, it's nothing worse than
just the box though, not the skid steer.
Not the skid steer, but
the contents in the box
it was
it was probably worth just as much.
It was chrome. It was chrome corn. It wasn't beans. It wasn't a double. It was the most expensive corn you could have had dropped, and it was in gravel.
Yay!
So they kept sending me Snapchats of rocks in their planter meters. I mean, we picked up all but like 5 bags and tried not to get rocks, but
in Iowa, that yard will still grow 200 bushel corn. Yeah, just have them harvest the yard.
There you go.
I've been trying to tell my wife for years that I need to buy an excavator. She's like, "For what?" I'm like, "I will find something to do with it." Like, I'm guessing somebody needs help, but yeah.
So do you feel like you have to justify having the big one? I mean, those are expensive pieces of equipment.
They are expensive.
So you always got projects?
Yeah, and here again, I end up doing more for myself. We have a cattle herd. I've got pasture ground, so eliminating cedars. It's my new weed control mechanism. I have used it on some palmer in my fields as well, just because I hate some of my weeds, some of my resistant weeds. I'll just use the excavator for fun to take some of those out.
Like a big scoop of dirt?
A big scoop of dirt to kill that.
Typically
sucker.
works. That actually,
Yeah, it's amazing what you can find to do with the machine. It's pretty handy.
Yeah,
that would be handy.
I want one, and we want a dozer too on the farm.
Yeah.
But you were just putting out videos of messing around with box scrapers.
Yeah. Strobel Industries, local Strobel company. I've known the family for years. Builds a great line.
You say they went to church with you or something like that.
Yeah, we've gone to church together for forever, and our kids went to the same school. So know the family, know the product. I've owned the product for over 20 years now. A lot of their products, and doing the social media thing and or just loving all things equipment. Send it my way, or I'll come to you and run and film equipment. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, yeah, they had a lot of nice equipment, and a lot of diverse group of tractors that I got to jam gears in. Some of my favorite.
We were leveling that field out at my dad's place this year, and I thought the dozer guy would do better, and we ended up running a disc out there and box scraping, and I felt like the box scraper did dang near just as good of a job because you could feather it so easy. But yeah.
Yeah, you were pushing, I think it was one of your boys with the excavator in his car. He's been running around all summer. What the heck's he been doing there?
Yeah, so it's amazing when you have kids. They can be similar to you in a lot of ways. When I was in high school, me and 3 other guys bought a car. We each kicked in $25 to buy a $100 car that was on its way out, and we just drove it until we would kill it, and it lasted a very long time. So my boys just did that with a couple cars, couple $100 to just take cars out in the pasture and learn how to either do pit maneuvers or survive pit maneuvers. I've got a dirt bike track in my backyard. They'll take the cars on the dirt bike track. They've had a blast with the cars, and it's amazing. They will survive quite a bit. And or something will go out on it. They'll bring the car into the shop and they'll work on their auto mechanics.
Learn how to fix it.
And then, just fix a small thing, put a little bit of money into it, and just send it back out to do fun teenager things.
My buddies and I, as kids, we had an old Chevette, just a little hatchback. Busted all the windows out of it, took the doors off, welded rods in there, so we basically became a giant go-kart.
Yeah.
And we'd go tooling around, and that was a lot of fun. And we tried killing it. It's still sitting in the grove at my parents' house.
Really?
Yep.
Think it would start?
You could put a battery in it, probably would.
You should send Junkyard Digs there to get it.
I should.
That would be fantastic content. I think you need to do it, Tanner.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then our girls can run it around or something.
Probably the most expensive thing that we had to deal with is we just had to keep replacing tires.
Yeah.
Because we'd go a lot of places we weren't supposed to be going, and
yeah, so we did that on the Honda Civic that we have right now. I put my side-by-side tires on the front so we get more traction. It kept getting, the only problem with it kept getting stuck. So you can put side-by-side tires on a car. I learned this from Grant, by the way, too.
Oh, really?
Laura, when she married Grant and she was talking to her friends explaining, who this Grant guy is, and they essentially said, it sounds like, very similar to your father with what he does in auctions, buying things, and having a lot of fun on dirt bikes and such. So getting Grant into the family threshold has just added to the next level of fun shenanigans.
How far is their farm from yours?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, so not bad.
30 miles away. Not bad at all.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's cool that she's local,
Yeah.
doing her own thing, happy, found somebody to take care. Maybe she takes care of him.
Probably. I would say that, yeah.
Again, that would
Dave-
be big shining light of Megan carrying through our kids. A lot of our kids' abilities are because of my wife.
Right. Yeah, Dave said you saw him this morning, and he was being a good, not passenger princess. What would you call the guy just having to stand there by himself? Everybody's wanting to shake his wife's hand.
As soon as we get a female president, the first man.
The first man.
The first man. Yep. No, he was doing good, but she had some fans this morning, so yeah.
So how was that dynamic? I mean, like I said earlier, you had a channel on YouTube, I think, before Laura did, right? Like,
Yeah.
Did you show her the ropes on that?
No, not really. It's incredible. I didn't realize how independent, of course she's a firstborn, but how independent she was at a very, very young age, and just wanting that ability to do it on her own, to be a leader, and doesn't want my help or anybody's help.
Yep.
She wants to be her own individual, and she's still that way. It's grown her business, grown her channel up to where she'll have to start looking into getting some help. But she likes to be in control of all of it, and she does a very, very good job of it. I offer all the time. So one of the neatest things is she'll say, no, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, I'll just let go, let you do your thing. And then when she comes back and says, okay, Dad, I have
How do you do this?
a question, or can you help me out with that? And that's,
She's still comfortable asking.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. It's a good relationship.
How was that dynamic as a dad? I mean, there's a lot of creepo weirdos on the internet, and your daughter's out there kind of vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, being a female on the internet. I've been on the internet forever, Twitter, X, for a very long time. I've had personal YouTube channels way back in the day, like you said, there's content out there of Cale just floating out there that hasn't be refreshed
Yep.
recently. But I've been on for a long time, so knowing what it is and homeschooling the kids or kind of teaching and training the kids when they're watching me and my channel, what I'm doing, opens up conversations of the dangers of it, the great things of it, and the dangers of it. And so I wouldn't say they've grown up with the internet, but they've been aware of it. And the younger generation, this generation, is a lot quicker to adapt to things. But so far, they've done very well. We've seen the dark side of it for sure. But so far, it's been net positive, I think, for Laura and the rest of my family of kids.
What about on the sponsorship side of it, or people that want to partner with you? Has there been cool stuff to come from that too? I mean, stuff that you if you wouldn't have been social, or if Laura wouldn't have been social, you never would have tried this X product, and then it's all of a sudden like, oh, well, that actually worked a lot better than I thought it was gonna, or that was way better than I thought. Not just a sales pitch.
Yeah, it's wild and amazing to see of kind of my the best thing about social media, I think, is networking with people. And so I originally set out to teach and train people, consumers, end users, or people in the city, what I'm doing out here, and then they can decide if I'm doing good things or bad things, and then you get that feedback. So my original push was to teach and train, but now with a lot of the connections that I made with people and companies, I'm learning a ton. And some of our favorite things is, products that will come out that are new to the industry, or that just they want more visibility on it. The best thing is, like, here's the product, like it, love it, or hate it, we don't care. We're just going to put it in your hands and trust you to get some visibility on it. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is to push and promote products and or people. Anybody starting a business, Snark, Go Farm Yourself, he came out to my farm to visit, and he's like, Cale, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm a champion cheerleader of everybody and everything. If you want my advice, let's go. Let's just do it. Absolutely do it. Let's try it. See what happens.
Is Megan inviting of Snark?
Oh yeah. Well, see, I've known him long enough that I'll be sitting on the couch laughing. He's like, "What are you laughing at?" Oh, there's this dinosaur with lipstick, live tweeting, running a marathon. I think it's just hilarious. So yeah, she's heard and known Rupert for a long time. We have a great relationship.
That's funny. He's not out here this year. I don't know what he's doing. Must be
busy. That's classic Snark.
Yeah.
Just don't know. Can't keep up with him, and then sometimes he can't keep up with you.
Right. He must probably working on the business back in Des Moines.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got out of Chicago. So I think that was good for him. Yeah.
All right, Tanner, you got something new. What's this hot takes?
Yeah, it's a whether you agree or disagree with a phrase or something that's going on in the general public right now. So, for example, the hot take is AI is going to replace many jobs.
Ooh.
So what do you think, Dave? Do you think AI is going to replace many jobs?
I think it will create just as many as it takes.
What do you think, Cale?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to answer. The neat thing of what I've seen in the past of what technology does is if it eliminates one business, 5 others will pop up
from it.
Right alongside of it. We will do. How often did I hear in high school, Cale, there's a job out there that doesn't exist right now, is what you will probably be doing. And even though I'm doing the oldest occupation on earth, farming, it looks quite a bit different than when Grandpa and Dad did it.
I thought
you still got any...
prostitution was the oldest occupation on earth. I really do. I Google it. I think no, just kidding.
You had to have food before you. Yeah, we'll stop there. Do you still have any of Grandpa's equipment?
Yeah. We like a lot of farms sold it off to make ends meet. So whatever equipment that I didn't have on Grandpa's, I've been trying to purchase, finding it on auction, Craigslist, or Facebook Marketplace, and bring some of that old equipment.
Have you been successful?
Back on. Oh, for sure. Yeah. The Farmall H.
Yeah.
I was able to pick up. That's an old tractor that Grandpa really didn't farm with, but he just liked to drive around. Probably the biggest staple is our 4020 that Grandpa bought brand new in 1969. Still have it on the farm. Just used it yesterday to wind up poly pipe.
Yep.
So,
Do you think there'll ever be a tractor that is the 4020 of the next gen?
it's an excellent question.
I mean, everybody talks about a blooming 4020.
I just used our 4020 the other day. We got a loader on it, and I needed some sand, and the skid loadered up to the hog site, so I went and grabbed sand with the 4020. So.
And it started, and it ran, and it did the job.
Yeah.
And then it'll sit there
100%.
for a day, a week, or a month, and it'll fire up right again.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just runs. So I don't know if there will be another.
It's a good question. We should run a poll.
We should run a poll, Instagram poll for sure.
I don't
I know
think
a
so
girl
with
would make that
emissions.
happen.
I don't think so with emissions, or it'd have to be to have that kind of longevity.
But well, maybe they're not old enough. Do you remember Nokia phones?
Yeah.
Like when there was a Nokia 6190,
yeah.
and I thought, man, there's not going to be a better phone than this. And then all of a sudden, boom.
They never have the phone
Nextel.
covers that they built for Nokia cell phones were to protect the ground if you ever drop the phone.
I like that.
I remember those. Yeah, those leather
Oh yeah,
sleeves. You'd slide those things in, and,
dude.
and then we had Nextels, so
Yeah.
had the walkie-talkie
Walkie-talkie feature.
That was awesome.
I think there'll be some tech someday, and it might not be a tractor. It might be an air tractor or something, or a drone stuff.
Like a hoverboard.
Yep.
Or
That'll
a
be
hover.
the.
Nextel was the first stock I ever bought.
Oh, yeah?
I was a kid, and yeah.
You still own it?
No, it tanked. I rode her to nothing.
He still got his Bitcoin, but
Rode her all the way
Yeah.
to nothing.
I think I bought it like $16, and I think I sold it 2 or 3. Yeah.
Next one is staycations are just as good as vacations.
ooh,
Have you ever, Cale, staycationed?
100%. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a lake cabin that Mom and Dad built that we have access to.
Yeah.
And we've done that actually for my anniversary a couple years ago. That's what we did. Just went up there and having livestock and growing up with Dad, who just pretty much worked every day in his 70s, that became a thing. We'll just do something fun close by because you always have to do chores. You always have to be the thought process. You always have to be around. What if something
happens?
So, and he was just comfortable being home. I could go either way on that.
I'm not sure I understand this one. Avocado toast is the ultimate farm-to-table dish.
Yeah. Do you believe that?
What is
That's
that?
that's
No,
Instagram.
no.
That's from Instagram.
No,
That's
I don't, because it doesn't have meat.
I would agree. But that's the belief is people look at avocado toast as this is straight from the producer, and like it's an avocado. It's one product.
Right. And the toast is what?
There's tomatoes on avocado toast? Oh, you can probably
You
put
have
whatever
to
you
put
want
something on it. Butter, honey.
Butter would come from a cow, so
So
I
what's
guess you
the-
get some
to. Honey would come from a bee.
Yeah.
What do we want to? Are we gonna like do agriculture 101?
wheat in the
If he is him,
toast.
then what is avocado toast to farm to table?
What?
She knows what I'm talking about. Have you heard
And
that?
everyone's lost.
That it's the him. He's the him.
No.
No.
That's the new language of the kids, I guess. Is that,
How are you the one that knows the hip?
like he is.
I thought
I
the
do, I
language
do.
was brah.
Bra.
Bra.
No,
What's
like,
up, brah?
Go farther than bra.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, he is him. Like Brock Purdy, he is him.
Well, the next one will lead into our payoff question. We don't have to end, but it's going to be a good transition. So the hot take is work-life balance is a myth.
Says the guy that was just in Europe.
One thing that really helps is to love your job so that you get a sense of vacation or a sense of relaxing, sitting in your tractor, actually doing something. So you're able to accomplish work, but it's not always high stress. So getting into the excavator, getting into the planter, getting into the combine.
Right.
So your work-life balance, you can come home less stressed, less hyped up because you feel like you've just had a day in the sandbox playing with big machinery. Is
like that
work-life
analogy.
balance a myth? For a lot of people, it is.
Because
for a lot of people, it is.
the question that we started off asking at the end of every one of our episodes is, how do you balance work and personal life? And we very quickly switched the word balance to juggle, because our belief is it doesn't have to be 50-50 for everybody, and that juggling is going to look different. We're not going to ever tell anybody it needs to be balanced. But how do you juggle work and personal life?
That's a fantastic. Take naps when you can. Get your sleep when you can. When Cale is rested and fed, I can pretty much do anything. And marrying a wonderful woman has certainly helped that. So my life partner is a big part of my balance, my juggle. She knew I was the first farm that brought her out to during college, and so she knew what she was getting into, and she chose the life. So work-life balance, or your work, or your family, is a choice, and we absolutely do have that choice. It might not seem like it at the time, but it is a choice, and Megan chose it, I chose it, and we juggle it fairly well. I think we're doing pretty okay.
Oh,
Should add to that question, can you actually juggle? Can you juggle?
I can.
Can you juggle, Dave?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Once I can do like a couple times.
Why does Dave surprise you, and why didn't you be
It's okay
surprised
that
when
he
I
was
said
there.
it?
I am surprised that Dave can juggle. I just don't picture him as hand-eye
Like
coordination.
bowling pins, balls.
No, like
Like
balls.
just 3 tennis balls.
Okay.
Three tennis balls.
Flaming.
Yeah, I can't do it. I haven't.
I mean, I
I
do it
haven't
for-
mastered that skill.
Yeah.
45 seconds,
Really?
and then I'll probably drop them.
We have 3 balls over here.
got the
we need to get
bags.
this on camera. Oh, get those squishy things.
do
No,
the
we can't
bags.
have
Oh,
those.
yeah.
Yeah,
Can
let's
you-
see this.
Can
Let's
you
see
juggle?
this. I don't think I can. I'll try. I feel like I
I
need to
can't.
stand up for this. Yeah, Dave's going to try.
I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. So you got to stand up.
Make sure you're still in the camera frame.
So you got to do it like this.
So Dave, for all that you are not watching on YouTube, you need to go to YouTube and watch this. So Dave
So
is
up,
attempting
up,
to juggle.
up.
Oh!
Hey, that was
Here we
not
go.
45 seconds.
That's
That
not
was
45
Three in a
seconds.
row.
We'll try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5,
up, under,
6,
up,
7,
under.
8, 9, 10.
God, give me that.
Boom!
Good.
Oh,
Andy
good
caught
dad.
it. And caught it.
A party fail. So we did spill Cale's water.
So you got to
We're
practice.
just fine.
This is how you practice. You take just 2.
Yeah.
You just practice doing.
Okay.
You
okay.
just practice up, 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 and you always keep one in your hand.
I'm just going to get right
It's
into
easier
it.
with balls.
It's easier with balls.
So I actually taught myself how to juggle
Cale's going to get it.
as a 4-H project.
As a 4-H project.
Yep, because our 4-H club always had, each member was supposed to be able to go
I'll
into
try
that.
anything
It's
twice.
going to be hard with the ceiling there.
Hold on.
Each 4-H member had to
my.
take something that you could teach the rest of your group. So my presentation is I'm going to
There
teach.
you go. You got it.
I think Cale and I
doing
have
it
similar
One
mindsets.
hand.
I actually built a house for a guy that made a center, 20-foot tall center, 2 stories, just so he could juggle higher.
Really?
Yep.
That's weird.
That is.
But yeah,
That's weird.
it's up. So you only just keep one in the air.
That is difficult, but I think that's a skill that
Yeah.
can be
I
acquired.
think, yeah, if I applied it myself, I'd probably have it in a day.
I had,
Yes.
We're going to destroy the computer.
There you go.
I had members of 4-H juggling by the end of my presentation.
All right.
But yeah,
Don't land on the
pretty
soundboard.
Here goes
not-
the expert.
I'm not going to drop them.
Do you have auto steer in your combine, Corey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
God.
In the junk. In the junk.
Oh.
That's got some weight to it.
I'm going to mark that clip. That's absolutely gold.
I do have auto steer, and we also have the feelers on the head.
Oh, nice. So maybe you could practice this
Yeah.
harvest. How
We
close
have-
are you to harvest? How far away? What do you
I
think?
have a 103-day corn hybrid that is really early for us. We're normally like 110 to 114
Yeah.
day, and it was 21% on Sunday before we came out here.
Nice. So you'll start with corn before beans?
Probably. Our beans are turning, but we'll probably. I only got a box of that hybrid, so we'll probably just go get things ready to go and maybe nose into some other stuff to see where we're at. But we do like to get started on corn. You know, just get things going, and then when the
Right.
beans are ready, we'll go. So I don't grow short season beans. I feel like I leave
Group
a lot.
3, Group 4? Into 4?
We're so I would say typical for Central Iowa is a 2.0 to a 3.0, and I'm a lot of 2.7s, 2.8s.
That would be
a whole
early.
podcast on that someday.
Yep.
That sounds early. I'm 2.5s and 2.8s. That would be early. We just grew 3s and some 4s.
Yep. Yep.
That did okay, but early beans yielded just as good.
You plant beans first?
You don't grow beans, Dave.
I do. We have in the past.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So you said
Recovering
you
here.
got side-by-sides in the back. I've just been geeking out on side-by-sides. What kind of side-by-sides do you have?
Polaris and Can-Am.
Oh, yeah? 2-door, 4-doors? Sporty or more utility?
For both and everything. So I upgraded Megan's side-by-side that's supposed to be hers, but it kind of keeps, like a lot of equipment and tools gets pulled into the farm. But hers is the family vehicle, and then I bought a Razor from Grant and Laura to tool around on to keep up with them on South Dakota trips or Platte River trips.
Okay.
Or the dirt bike track is big and wide enough to handle side-by-side racing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Side-by-side racing. We need to try that.
I couldn't justify. We do have a Ranger on the farm, but I couldn't justify getting another one. I wanted to. I about did. But dang, they're expensive. So I went and bought a $4,000 Chevy Tracker, and I put
nice.
mud track
Yeah.
tires on it. Has cruise control. I can go down the interstate with it.
It's crazy when you're buying, and I'm a big fan of motorcycles, ATVs, and side-by-sides. It's crazy what we start to spend on them. Like, well, I could get an old truck
Yeah.
for a lot cheaper, and it's an old truck, which what we irrigated with always and forever.
Yep.
Yep.
So what kind of motorcycle guy are you? I've been a KTM guy if I was there, but do you have a brand of choice?
No, I don't. Grew up on dirt bikes, a lot of Honda dirt bikes. The nice thing, I passed on this passion for two wheels down to my kids, so now I'm not only just buying, I no longer have to buy stuff for myself. They're already buying it. Adam, my 19-year-old son, just bought a KTM 690.
Okay.
Dual sport, and so the first KTM that we've owned, but that's been a fantastic machine.
You guys know Evil Knievel was from Montana?
Did not know that.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, grew up in Montana. Everybody wanted to be Evil Knievel, so everybody had a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right. Well, I think we probably better wrap this thing up.
What? You're going to end the episode?
I am.
Holy
I think,
smokes.
Well, I know Tanner already asked the
Liquid
Unless
death.
is there anything else? Okay, we should ask. How do people find you? Cale, what's your channel?
Mostly, yeah. Don't come to my house. Stop. If you're a stranger from the internet, unless you're Snark, but don't come to my house. Don't show up to Laura's house or my house. But LEAD Farms, LEAAD Farms on pretty much all social media, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
TikTok. I am over there on TikTok.
On the talkers.
What's your biggest platform, you think?
Oh, X.
X.
Yeah, I'm. The old ag Twitter. We've had some greats come and go, but that's going to be my bread and honey for social media. That's where I get all of my news, and I really love and appreciate you guys, the community out there that I found on X.
And Cale always does. What do you call them? Lives or
Spaces?
Spaces. That's what it is.
Spaces. Yeah, when they first created Spaces, and it happens to be when Snark was starting his business. He's like, I need somebody to come on Spaces with me at least weekly and just talk for an hour. Can you do that? I'm like, 100%. I'll do that for free.
Essentially, you kind of had your own podcast in it. You're a host of a podcast.
Yep.
It was just live and
always much
sometimes.
rather. I'm not organized enough to host, I don't think, but
Just like show
co-host is my favorite.
You're a good host. If you're focused on it, but then there's times that you're on when
Distracted.
most probably people wouldn't be, like you're doing something. And
For sure.
it's
It fits like a lot of social media. If I'm into it and it fits my schedule, we're
Game
rolling.
on. Yep.
Yep. Very
I
cool.
like this. I'm glad we did it. This was way overdue. Just to be able to tell Cale's story. We've known it, right? We got to hang out multiple times, multiple places.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. But I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be good.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. And thanks for doing and sticking with Farm for Profit and Farm for Fun.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's a great brand. I think it's a great avenue. It's definitely a grind if you want to do anything. Just sticking with it, that's what takes out a lot of creators. They lose the drive, and I think you guys have something that's fantastic and works very, very well.
That's the secret
that. Keep
sauce.
up with it.
We are most definitely not the best podcast, but we are the most consistent, I will say, of everything.
Consistency wins the day. It wins the year.
And if it was up to Dave and I, it would have folded years ago. Tanner just...
you make me sound like a military leader.
Well, you are a militant scheduler.
Left face.
Yeah. So
you have a wonderful gift, Tanner.
About face.
Thank you.
Yep. So.
Well, this is our pleasure. We also appreciate all the listeners too. So, what do you tell Corey?
What do I tell myself?
Corey, what do you tell yourself? Would you
crack a cold one? You deserve it.